When did someone challenge you at something you were an expert at?
Story 1.
Medieval Fair, 2002. Carney running the fancy game picks me out of the crowd for being tall and challenges me to a free bout against the master. Not a lot of people fence, so his gambit probably worked most of the time, but when he handed me that saber, I handed him his ass. When you are pretty good at something moderately obscure, these are the kinds of things you daydream happen to you. You, sir, have lived the dream.
Story 2.
It happens a lot lately. I'm a microbiologist, so the number of people who have suddenly taken an interest in the subject in order to be confidently wrong about it is pretty upsetting. Did you know that COVID is caused by 5G towers?
Story 3.
While I was in high school, I was the reigning city fencing champion in both the youth and adult tournaments. My high school decided to do a school-wide fencing unit for phys ed, and the coach they brought in to teach all of the students was my actual coach. During my class, my coach naturally brought me up to help demonstrate the various moves, but for some reason one of my classmates didn't understand that I wasn't chosen at random. He started talking shit about how I looked like I didn't know what I was doing, and how he could probably kick my ass in a duel. Now, he actually was pretty good for a guy who had never fenced before, and at the first opportunity to actually have a bout, he decided to have a go at me. I picked him apart and did not give up a single touch, and used the opportunity to practice my parry and rip posts. I admit, I took a bit of sadistic pleasure in thoroughly beating him. Afterwards, my coach made a point of congratulating the other guy for doing so well against the city champ, which changed his attitude considerably.
Story 4.
Kind of the reverse for me. I'm a physical education teacher, and I had a student that took a pretty bad tumble in class, hit her head on the wall. Pretty clear concussion symptoms, so we get her stable, call mom and dad to come and get her. Dad shows up, and I start going through the concussion symptoms and treatments with him, letting him know that a doctor's visit is probably in order. Blah, blah, blah. I keep going on and on about concussions. He just politely nods and thanks me. He takes his daughter and leaves, and I see my principal standing behind me, and he can barely contain his laughter. Turns out, Dad is an emergency room doctor, and he just sat there while his daughter's gym teacher gave him medical advice. Think about it like this. If you had been saying the wrong things about it, he would have corrected you and pointed out that he was a doctor. Instead, he let you go through everything, listening carefully to ensure your advice was sound and correct. When everything checked out, he left proud of the fact that he now knows 100% that the gym teacher is looking out for his kids' safety and well-being, short and long term.
Story 5.
The property management company for my homeowners association insisted that I had received emails that I never received. So I asked them to prove that I had received them. They said they're sure that I received them. I'm a software engineer, and at the time, I had just finished an enterprise email delivery system, like an in-house constant contact. I knew the rules of the Can Spam Act by heart. I knew exactly how their system worked. So this real bitch of a property manager said, "I know how email works, you wouldn't understand." I mentally did the arrogant knuckle crack and started to explain, very methodically, how email delivery works and how they track various actions. I spent about 5 minutes detailing my credentials and why I was absolutely certain they had never sent me the emails they alleged I received. When I finished, the HOA board just agreed to waive the fees. I work for a company that notifies customers of deadlines by email. We get customers who claim they never received the email, so the deadline should not apply to them. When a customer opens one of our emails, we know exactly when, unless they have disabled automatic loading of images in their client. So I can tell them, you opened the 30-day warning email on May 8th at 7:14 p.m. You opened the 7-day warning email on May 29th and again on June 4th. But you did not click the link until September 24th after you opened the 7-day warning. Then the original 30-day warning at 3 minutes after that. And then you click the link and receive the notification. It was past the deadline. They never respond after being caught in the lie.
Story 6.
When we were having a couple of drinks on Friday after work, I was challenged to a shooting by a colleague. Little did he know, I've been shooting air rifles competitively ever since I was 13. Not to say I am the greatest, but I've made it to the national finals for my country multiple times and came third and sixth. I have all the special clothes and gears and such you would need it to make it to such a level. The next day, Saturday, we showed up to the range I always shoot at. It's not a day I usually train, so not many people recognize me. I beat his ass left and right and center all day. Out of 600 points, he scored about 200 or 250 if I remember correctly. I got about 580, which was about average of what I used to shoot. He had to buy me a fancy bottle of whiskey, and now we shoot every 2 or 3 weeks together. Fun times. I'm sorry if it's hard to follow. English is my second language.
Story 7.
Not me, but my friend used to ride a unicycle as a kid. He worked construction, and they were working at a house that had an old unicycle. The other workers tried riding it and immediately fell off. My friend walked over to it and inspected the unicycle like it was the first time he had ever saw one of them. Said it didn't look that difficult. They all laughed at him, and he said he thought he could ride it. Eventually, one of them bet him $100 he couldn't ride it. He jumped on it and immediately rode it down the street.
Story 8.
By no means an expert, I'd probably rate in the 1500s, but I've played chess since I was a small child, and was the best player in the middle school chess club. The guy who owned the pool hall me and my juvenile delinquent friends hung out in was talking about how dumb kids are these days, and said he bet nobody in my group of hoodlums could play chess. I beat him soundly, then again in a rematch. One time I played my brother-in-law's friend who was a cocky member of some chess club. I started with a super aggressive opening. My brothers and I randomly read a lot of chess books growing up, and he had no idea what to do. I completely destroyed him.
Story 9.
My father tried to explain to me how computers and the internet work after he's called me over to figure out why his computer and internet aren't working. I've been an IT pro for around 12 or 13 years. My parents and some friends still do this shit to me every single time.
Story 10.
Went to a couple's night once, and the guy had wall-to-wall movies and framed posters in his basement, super into it. Mentioned I used to be a movie nerd, but not so much anymore. He challenged us to a movie trivia board game, in a condescending way, and I tried to politely decline, but my girlfriend insisted we play. They went first, missed the question, then we ran the table. Never heard from them again. A similar thing happened with Harry Potter trivia recently. My wife and I had just finished reading the entire series, so when they missed their first question, we proceeded to run the board. Eventually, we missed one on purpose because we felt bad.
Story 11.
I'm an Academy Award-winning sound mixer, and almost everyone on film set thinks that they know my job better than me.
Story 12.
I have perfect pitch. It's not a thing I can turn off. Notes simply are a pitch clear as day, much like how red is clearly distinct from green. Anywho, music class in junior high. Teacher explains that Mozart had perfect pitch and walks over to the piano, plays a note and says, and just by hearing it, he'd be able to tell you what note that was. Now, can any of you do that? At the time, I honestly had no idea this was rare. Raise hand. Teacher with a smug look points to me and is gobsmacked when I answer correctly with note and octave. Figures it's pure luck, so does it again and asks me to face the other way. I answer correctly again. Tries it with chords, sequences, and 2 hands worth of notes. Still right every time. Ends with me playing back a short sequence after I listen to it blind. That day, I learned that perfect pitch is actually kind of rare.
Story 13.
My father-in-law challenged me on the capabilities of DVD. Specifically, he claimed that you could only have a widescreen video, not 4x3 on a DVD disc. At the time, I was employed as a DVD author. I authored the very first commercially available feature on Scenarist. I am literally acknowledged in the first edition of DVD Demystified as an expert. I had already, by that time, personally authored literally hundreds of DVDs with 4x3 video. He knew all of the above at the time, yet still insisted I was wrong.
We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch our YouTube video. If you find our content helpful and enjoyable, please click the subscribe button to stay updated on any new videos we share in the future. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you in our next upcoming videos.